Hey VC, how are ya? This is Hub Tunes. I am Mike. A while back, somebody in the VC, I believe it was Harris Pilton, suggested I do an all Gary Numan discography video. And I responded, no one would watch. Since then, I've actually reconsidered and I don't know, maybe a few people would watch. And no one else is doing Gary Numan discography videos in the VC. So keeping it weird, keeping it fresh, keeping it different. We're doing a Gary Numan discography series. I'm going to start off with his classic first three records up to where pretty much he fell off the face of the earth. And then recording wise, he fell off the face of the earth. He made some pretty bad albums in the 90s. And then the second video is going to be kind of his reimagination and comeback in the late 90s, 2000s, and up to present. And then the third video is going to be live records and compilations. He has quite a few of both. He is very generous when it comes to releasing live records. He pretty much puts one out for every tour. Some people call that a cash grab. I call that making a living. And suddenly people don't like other people making livings. So he does release a lot of live albums. And people buy every single one. So let's start. I actually have my iPad here just in case we want to know some dates or anything, because some of the dates on this late 80s, 90s stuff is I don't remember. So we'll start out with his first album. This is Tubeway Army, his band prior to going solo. This is on the blue Beggar's Banquet. Actually kind of hard to find. I also have it on the red Beggar's Banquet. The red is pretty common. The blue is actually fairly difficult to find. This is both original pressings. I've talked about this record before on videos. This is a punk album. Very similar to like maybe even early Devo. It's a solid punk album. He wouldn't introduce keyboards until the next record. So that's Tubeway Army, the brilliant album. They only made one album, and then he went solo. Well, technically, he went solo. This is the next album is Replicas. This is the Atco version of it. It says Gary Numan and Tubeway Army, but then there's some pressings that say just Tubeway Army. It's for all intents and purpose, it's his first solo record. It's great. This is probably my favorite recording that he ever did. This has Down in the Park. This is absolutely my favorite. Me Disconnect from You, Our Friends Electric, Praying for the Aliens, Down in the Park, which is my favorite Gary Numan song. I Nearly Married a Human. This is a wonderful record and very punky still. There's not a huge amount of keyboards on it like we would see in the next couple records, but it's a great record, very raw. Next up, the big one, The Pleasure Principle. You guys have seen this, I'm sure. I've shown this many times. I actually have shown, in my introductory video, I showed the cassette that I bought in 1980 of this album. I still have that cassette. I should have pulled it out, but I didn't. But here's the record. Great record on Atco. This was the big one. This is what put him over the edge in the UK, and in America was, Cars was a huge hit. This also has, what else? This also has Metal, Complex, Films, Observer, and the huge single Cars. This, now, all of a sudden, he's full-blown new wave electronic keyboards, Moog synthesizers. This is what made him who he was. Just a classic record, absolute classic record. It's so much deeper than Cars. The song Metal, which has been covered by everybody, like Nine Inch Nails has covered it, and so many bands have covered Metal. Great album. I mean, if you're gonna dig into the early Gary Numan catalog, this is where you should start. Next up was another pretty big hit for him. This is Telecon. It comes with a limited edition live single, which I believe I still have. I should still have it. Yep. Got my little single in there. It's just a little British single. It's got a chip in it. Look at that. Bastards. But how old is it? Great album. This had the Airplane Bureau, Telecon, Remind Me to Smile, Sleep with Windows. It's a good album. Not as good as the first two. In my mind, I prefer the first two much better. But this was a pretty big hit in the UK. Yeah, he was still riding really high. The next album is one of my favorite Gary Numans. A lot of people think he just collapsed after Telecon, but this is a great album. This is Dance. This is my promotional copy, again, on Atco. This is a great record. I think it's underrated in his catalog. Absolutely terrific stuff. This has, I'm going to name some songs off that you have no idea what they are because no one's watching has probably even listened to this record. Slow Car to China, Slow Car to China is great. Night Talk. She's Got Claws was the big single off of this. Not here in the US, but in the UK it was pretty big. Boys Like Stories is a great song. Crash. This is Dance. They also just did a anniversary release of this, remastered and on double vinyl. It's got a great, they redid all the inner sleeves, and it's on purple. So yeah, and this sounds really good. This sounds much better than the original. Much better. So that's Dance. And that's give you an idea of the timeline. Dance was 1981. So man, this guy was cranking out some records in pretty fast amount of time, because the first album, the Tubeway Army, was 78. So he's cranking out some records. Next up, this is where it starts to get a little... this is okay. This is I Assassin. It's on Atco. All these early ones are on Atco. It's okay. White Boys and Heroes is good. Music for Chameleons was the single. That was a really big song in the UK also. I like that, and I like We Take Mystery to Bed. It's okay. He introduces saxophone on a lot of these mid-80s albums. Next up is Warrior. It's my Japanese pressing of it. It's okay. It's got a couple of good songs. The Iceman is good. Sister Surprise is great. I believe that was the single. The Rhythm of the Evening is good. And that's about it. Warrior. And that's, if you're looking, that's 83. The next one is an album I really like. This is Berserker. I actually really like this. He's fully introduced saxophone to the keyboard lineup. He's now started his own record company called Numa Records, which failed miserably and kind of went along with his downturn of his career at the time. This is a great album. First of all, cool artwork. I love the title track, Berserker. This is New Love. The Secret, My Dying Machine is awesome. Pump It Up, The Hunter, Cold Warning. It's a good album. It's a really good album. So kind of a bounce back for him. I don't know how well it sold, but I love it. Great album, Berserker. There's also a really nice live record that goes along with that. This is the point where he starts releasing a live record with almost every studio record, and there's a terrific live record set that goes along with that, which I'll show in the next video. Next up is 1985's The Fury. Look at that horrid album cover. Absolutely horrible. It is on... It's on Numa Records again, with the black label this time. I also have one with the white label like you previously saw, but not showing you all my variants because half of you are probably already tuned out. But this is Gary Numan. This is The Fury. I actually, again, horrible album cover. There's some pretty decent stuff on here. This is, you're getting the poppy 80s bass. He's got the saxophone still going, but he's still holding on to that early 80s sound from the, from like Pleasure Principle and Telecon. Call Out the Dogs is a great song. Your Fascination is one of my favorite Gary Numan songs. Miracles is good, and one of my absolute favorite Gary Numan songs is it opens the second side. It's called Creatures. I don't know why I like it. It's just got a really cool groove to it. I absolutely love that song. Most Gary Numan fans hate this record, is what the consensus in my world seems to be. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. I actually like it. Next up is this is a hot piece of garbage. This is called Strange Charm. This is going to be 1986. So he's still cranking out the records, even long past his prime. I mean, he's nobody right now. I mean, the career has completely fallen off. Still selling records in the UK, but not like the first three records. And this is just horrible. It's on the Numa record. It's on the black label. New Thing from London Town was probably the single, and so is This Is Love was also a single, and they're not very good. That was a quick review of that, huh? This was a Radio Heart, a song he did with Gary Numan, with Elton John, and it's not bad actually. Across the Nations and London Times. It's actually not bad. It's a pretty good song. That's just a 45, like what do they call them? I don't even know. Next up is, this is Metal Rhythm, and this is from 88. It's on Illegal Records, so he's by now the Numa Records has completely collapsed. This is, most consider this to be his worst record. New Anger was the single. There's really not much to really even talk about on this album. I think pretty much the consensus is that this album is definitely his worst. So this is Metal Rhythm. Don't buy it. Next up is a really interesting record. This is Automatic, an album that he made And I actually like it. It's a little poppy for me, but it's pretty good. It's Sharp and Numan. I forget who Sharp was, but change your mind, turn off the world, breathe in emotion, some new game. I'm on automatic. Rip it up. It's not a bad record. It's also not a great record. I never play it. Next up is another complete trash record. This is so this would be 91. This is called Outland. Not good. It's on IR. He's now moved to IRS. There's not much to talk about on this. My World Storm is okay. Dreamkiller's pretty good. And that's another. This is kind of where you can tell it's really kind of crashing all around him. Career and personal life are not going well. I think once the record company collapsed, everything just kind of collapsed around him, mentally, physically, and personally. New Anger is the next one. And this is going to be 92. Kind of a comeback. There were a couple of songs on here. The song America, This Is Emotion, New Anger, My Dying Machine. It's okay. Kind of a comeback compared to the last couple albums. But again, no one's buying this record in 1988. No, 92. Okay, so that was the first section of this series. Clearly the first four albums, you know what, I'll even go five. The first five albums are the high point of his career, the heyday. He was groundbreaking. Nobody was doing what he was doing on those first three albums. It was all new. You know, you still had New Wave was just starting in 1978, 79, 80. So he was a pioneer at the time and with those records. And I think they hold up, especially the first five. The rest are kind of a mixed bag. There's some couple of singles and a few of them that are great. And then he would kind of take a little bit of a hiatus, but not much of a hiatus, because that last album was 92. He would reinvent himself in 1994 with his album Sacrifice. And that's where we will pick up on the next video, and we will take it from 94 to present day. Thanks for watching. Questions, comments, snide remarks, put them right down there in the comments section. You guys know more than I do. Please chime in. Always love to learn and always learning. So yeah, check it out. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.